Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. When traditional media chooses to write stories on the topic of cryptocurrency and blockchain, sometimes I think it's kind of cute. You know, it's like they're really trying. It's not what they're reporting on a daily basis. It's not what they're researching day in, day out, but gosh darn it, they're going to write something up about it, and hopefully if they're well-intentioned, they're going to have done a bit of research. And then at the end of the day, they'll type something up, and it'll be more or less accurate. And so I think it's kind of cute. You know, they get things wrong. So I read through this article from Yahoo Finance, and that's kind of the vibe I was getting. I was like, oh, this person, I feel like they're trying to do right. Like they're kind of wrong in like the narrative direction that they're going. And so it's just like like a kid on a learning to ride a bike. They got training wheels. That's traditional media writing about crypto. That's how I look at it. But then I saw this. This article was written by somebody named Oliver Knight. I was not familiar, and I was like, CoinRivet? What is CoinRivet? So I looked that up, and it's some sort of cryptocurrency media site. And I just I'm not familiar with it, but I looked this guy up, and so apparently he should know plenty about cryptocurrency. But after reading this article titled $10 billion wiped from XRP market cap since June, after reading this, I thought, well, first of all, this probably shouldn't even really be a story, and I'll explain why in a moment. Then on top of that, kind of the narrative doesn't make sense. But here you go. He's got his journalism degree, got it in 2016. And he writes that he combines his writing, this Oliver Knight, combines his writing with his love of crypto and blockchain here at CoinRivet, saying it disrupts well-established institutions, and then in parentheses, banks, while giving an avenue to the less fortunate to achieve financial freedom. Okay. So I'm going to share some thoughts on that, and then I've got some comments from the XRP community on other stuff, and I'll wrap up the video with this article from AMB Crypto titled Stellar Burning 55 Million XLM, that's the Stellar Lumens cryptocurrency, was a bad idea, says Charles Hoskinson, and he is co-founder of Ethereum and the founder of Cardano. But before I go any further, if you would please delicately tap that like button, and if you are a fan of Ripple and XRP, well, gosh darn it, thanks for stopping by. You and I should be bestest buds, but that can only happen if you subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel. Let's go ahead and dive in now. Ripple's XRP token, that's already wrong. We're 3 words in, that's already wrong, unless you're referencing that XRP which Ripple holds, which is not the case here. It's not Ripple's XRP, it's just the XRP ledger, the XRP being the native digital asset on the XRP ledger. But I'll read it anyway. Ripple's XRP token has endured a turbulent year, with more than $10 billion being wiped from the cryptocurrency's total market cap. In late June, the price of XRP reached dizzying, that's kind of hard to say, dizzying heights, as it tested the key 50-cent level of resistance. And there indeed was a brief period in time where this year XRP actually did go over 50 cents. Which was quite a run-up. It was a matter of how quick did that happen? Inside of a couple weeks, it went from, about 25 cents to 50 cents. So there actually has been a little bit of rally action this calendar year, despite it mostly not being, to the satisfaction of the XRP community by and large, right? Anyway, however, the euphoria was short-lived as XRP proceeded to slump dramatically in the following months, eventually succumbing to a depressing yearly low of 21 cents in September. Depressing unless you're a buyer. Because what was the quote that I shared yesterday in one of my videos? I like this. I'm going to try and steal this if that's okay. It was from DIY Investing, who was on Twitter and also has a YouTube channel. He said, when you're buying at lows like that, especially if it's an all-time low, or all-time low relative to what the most recent high had been. So I guess, okay, all-time would be the wrong way to phrase it. Whatever, you get what I'm saying. If you're at a low, then basically what you're doing, if you're buying in at that point, is you're buying somebody else's fear. And that's a fun way of looking at it, I think. So I'm going to try and hijack that if I can. But I'm giving credit at least, right? But 2 months on, and despite a test of the 31-cent region in early November, XRP continues to stagnate at around 24 cents. And as I record this, by the way, I do have Live CoinWatch pulled up here. It's at 23.39 cents. That's what XRP's price is. So check this out. The market cap of XRP is now just $10.68 billion, which is 50% down from its yearly high of 20.7 billion, and a far cry from its all-time high of 146 billion in January of 2018. So what? So like this is my question. This is my concern, and the fact that this is even an article. And I gotta call it like I see it here. Nothing against Oliver. Maybe there's good intentions here. I don't know what is in his heart. Why are you specifically writing this about XRP? I think that's a valid question, right? I'm going to try to not rush too much to judgment here, but why? Why are you writing this specifically about XRP? What about Bitcoin? So Bitcoin's at a little shy of 7,400 with a market cap of 133 billion. So it's substantially on. So what was its high? I mean, it must have been, I'm just doing quick math in my head, was it over $300 billion market cap at that point? Right? Because not quite 3 times what the price is today, right? So 300 and something billion market cap. So you're going to talk about the hundreds of billions that Bitcoin is down, or are you just going to pick on XRP? And if you're not picking on XRP, explain to me, Oliver Knight, why you're writing this story in the first place. That I'm curious about. I would like to know what the intent is, what the motive is, and how do you feel about XRP, by the way? Are you pro? Are you anti? You were talking about in your profile here on CoinRivet about the importance of disrupting banks, right? So I don't know about that. I'm okay with disrupting fintech in general and banks, but I'm not down with the banks. That's not my mentality. I'm all that. Like there's a better way to do things here without forcing consumers to adopt cryptocurrency right now, which frankly it's not going to happen en masse the way that Bitcoin maxis want it to happen. The way that they envision is it's Bitcoin's just replacing fiat currency. No, that's not how it's going to... And Bitcoin's going to be the one, by the way. And the world's just going to magically come together, and all motives are going to align the world over, all geopolitical differences and everything, that there's people are going to come into harmony, and there's going to be one world currency, and it's going to be called Bitcoin. No, that's not an adult point of view. That's not how the world works. Different people want different things and aren't going to give up their fiat currencies necessarily, especially given that for most of the world, there's no friction with the utilization of fiat currencies from a domestic standpoint. Maybe if you want to move, convert one fiat currency to another, okay, fine, we're aware of that, but we're talking about the interoperability of ledgers there, essentially utilizing, and blockchains utilizing XRP as a bridge currency to make that happen. That's different. So anyway, XRP's fall from grace, that's what we're calling it. It's just XRP, though. Again, the article's about XRP, not the entire asset class is like 80 to 90% down from all-time highs. No. XRP's fall from grace has been a result of a number of factors, one of which has been the negative press it has received from a large section of the cryptocurrency community. Many claim that Ripple and XRP are not decentralized. Yeah, but not XRP community members. While some have also suggested that the token should be considered as a security under securities law in the U.S. Yeah, but that's not what the XRP community believes. So if you're talking about how the XRP community feels, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to throw that in there now, does it? The people that believe that, I'm telling you, they're Bitcoin maxis, by and large. And maybe of course, there are other people that are in the world of crypto and they're in other tribal communities, but it's people that are typically uninformed, or even if they know the truth, they're outright lying and just not being honest with other people and themselves. But anyway, Ripple founder Brad Garlinghouse has strongly refuted those claims, adamantly stating that XRP is not a security, but the negative press has left a sour taste in the mouths of investors. Has it? If you're talking about the negative press that Bitcoin maxis write, has that changed my feelings or thoughts on XRP? No, I mean, there's stupid articles. There's stupid articles out there that are feeding false information to people. I mean, I don't care for that. If you want to say that leaves a sour taste. But if you're trying to indicate that because of the claims in those articles, XRP community members have a sour taste in their mouth, no. That's a bunch of nonsense. That's a bunch of bunk. That's not how this goes down. As it turns out, the XRP community is probably, I would state, I put us up against any other community, the XRP community is the most informed cryptocurrency community about the asset that they support compared to any other. I put us up against any other community out there. One of the other huge criticisms against Ripple is its decision to offload XRP tokens on a monthly basis in over-the-counter deals. But okay, look, there's a fringe element, and if you're part of this, I do not mean offense to those, but there's like a fringe element of our community that does think, very small percentage of XRP community members actually believe that Ripple is offloading XRP tokens and meaningfully suppressing the price. Like the vast majority of us understand that's just not the case. So when you're talking about that, the people that don't like that, they're not even in the community. The ones that are bitching about it, they're Bitcoin maxis. That's what this whole article about is. It's like Bitcoin maxi opinions. Anyway, this, according to a group of aggrieved XRP investors, is unlawful and has resulted in a lawsuit against the Ripple Foundation. Oh my god, what a bunch of nonsense. So there we go, a story that really shouldn't exist, could have been written about any cryptocurrency, and yet it was written about XRP for reasons. And there we are. Next, here's a tweet from Stuart XRP. And this was written by David Schwartz, Ripple CTO, co-creator of the XRP ledger itself, written in 2015. And so I actually, excuse me, I started reading this. I'm so sorry, guys. I started reading this before, before recording. I actually didn't finish it because as I read the first few sentences, I don't think that I had ever seen before. So I thought what I'd do is just read this thing. It's not that long. I just want to share this with you. So David Schwartz, he wrote this in 2015, and let's just see exactly what's in here. I started reading, and I was like, oh, this sounds interesting. So here's what he had to say in 2015. Well, obviously, it's hard to predict the future, and there's certainly no such thing as a sure thing. Risk and reward always come in pairs. So the thinking is that if you have a large number of currencies on the Ripple network and a large number of institutions using them, it would be very difficult to find a direct path between two currencies. So if you have United States dollars issued by a local chain, and you want to pay somebody in Guatemala who gets cash at his grocery store, the probability that there'll be someone offering to trade one of those currencies directly for the other is pretty low. And the liquidity will probably be through some intermediary currency. The Ripple network has a native intermediary currency called XRP, or sometimes called Ripples. The advantage of Ripples is that there is no counterparty. It works just like Bitcoin. Your Ripple balance is just a number on your Ripple account on the Ripple network. And you can see right there why the usage of Ripple perhaps there in hindsight was not ideal, because now, years later, people are confusing XRP and Ripple. Now at this point there's really no excuse, but people are just doing it anyway. But let me continue on. The theory is that because XRP doesn't require any trust or anything in common, it can flow between any two accounts. You don't have to agree to have somebody hold it for you. And so, if that becomes the premier intermediary currency, then two types of people will want to hold XRP. One will be people who don't know what currency they'll need next. If the path from dollars to euros tends to go through XRP, then if you don't know whether you'll need dollars or euros, it makes sense to hold XRP, because then you only have to pay half the spread. And then the other thing is market makers. If you're just trying to make a market, and people who are selling their dollars and want XRP, because that's what they need to buy euros, then if you want to be able to buy dollars, XRP is the currency that you're going to need to hold to buy them. If that's the way it plays out, then the demand for XRP will go up, and therefore the price will go up. There you go. You know, as I read that, I'm actually not, to be honest, it sounds kind of familiar now that I finished reading it. I may have read that in the past, but I'm not completely sure, to be honest with you. I would say also, in addition, that there's a third person that might want to hold XRP, and those people would be speculators. You and I. People that understand that businesses need it to conduct their business operations, and that also dramatically affects price. And just think about it as institutional money comes in, exactly what that will mean for all of this. But anyway, you can see right there, and David Schwartz doesn't so much talk about price these days, and for good reason. I don't blame him one bit. They don't want to hype anything up or get anywhere even close to that, frankly. But they're saying conceptually, because what is he fundamentally saying here without using the word in these specific sentences? He's talking about utility. He's talking about real-world adoption, and that specifically is what will cause the price to go up. Read it yourself. Reread it. And I'm telling you, that's effectively what is being stated here. All right, next here. And this is from a fellow XRP YouTuber, DM Logic. And he writes this. Here would be an interesting documentary. Who are the religiously fanatical Bitcoin whales and common investors living and breathing each day to try to kill XRP because it poses an existential threat to their investment? And will it work? And I thought that would fit this tweet. The idea of this fits. First of all, I like the idea. That would be fantastic. I would absolutely watch that. I'd put it on replay and just watch it again and again and again. If it's well done. And I thought it fit in perfectly with this particular, the content of this video, given the primary piece that I covered in this. Isn't it fun to bust some fun, though? I got to tell you, it's very, very satisfying. It very much is. All right, last article for this video. Stellar burning 55 million XLM was a bad idea, says Charles Hoskinson. Initial coin offering, ICO, caught the attention of many back in 2017. However, over the years, the popularity of ICOs depreciated. IOHK's Charles Hoskinson elaborated on the aftermath of the ICO fever. And that's not all. I looked that up too. What does it stand for? Something Hong Kong. Oh shoot, what is it now? I swear, it's like on the edge of my brain right now. Somebody out there is yelling, "It's this or that." Sorry, I can't hear you. But yeah, so he's part of that in addition to having created Cardano and co-founder of Ethereum. Anyway, in a recent AMA session, Hoskinson pointed out that the ICO mania had changed everything, as there were huge market caps. Several projects were funded and everybody got rich, he said. Quote, "We got these huge market caps and everybody got rich, and all these scam projects got funded, and some projects were just not viable, and it was clear that they weren't viable, but they were still worth $1 billion. That does sound pretty nutty on the surface, doesn't it? Although, if you understand that market cap as pertains to cryptocurrencies means almost nothing, then it's not as impressive. Because all you're talking about is that you can have whatever amount of whatever cryptocurrency, and then the market cap is simply whatever the total amount is times the current market rate. That's what it is. Now, some people in the world of crypto, they like to say, no, it's circulating supply, but I got to tell you, prior to cryptocurrencies existing, that's never how market cap has been calculated. Never, ever. It wasn't a thing. So they've kind of like changed the definition of what market cap is and mutated it, and I don't really care for it personally. But anyway, soon aspects like culture, philosophy, or building things were comprised, and the focus shifted to make money alone, Hoskinson added. He further said, quote, "So it also attracted a lot of get-rich-quick people who had blatantly unrealistic expectations about how long it takes to build things and how hard it is to build things." And then the article continues. Additionally, he highlighted the progress that the cryptocurrency industry has made so far, like the government's taking digital assets seriously. Despite being in a crypto winter in terms of price, however, the innovation didn't stop, he stated. While answering the queries of the viewers, Hoskinson addressed Stellar's recent burn, where the Stellar Development Foundation burned about 55 billion XLM. Hoskinson elaborated on why he believes that Stellar made a mistake by doing so. And he said, quote, "People keep asking burn, burn, burn. First off, what value did it create for Stellar? It's basically saying, I can't figure out what to do with this big pile of money, so I'm going to set it on fire to make money more scarce, to give a small gift." That's fair enough, man. Despite the short-term price appreciation, where the price of XLM shot up to 18.84%, the effect did not last. He added, quote, "They've lost permanently all that value that could have been spent for protocol development for community development." Hoskinson further went on to assert that burns never work, since they are mere market manipulation on the short term for speculators at the expense of the future of the protocol. He further affirmed that there isn't a giant unallocated pile of ADA to be burnt. So there you go. That sounds like a reasonable position. But anyway, that's it for this video. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!